Hello, I'm Pam. So there has been this hashtag, So Your Birthday challenge, going around, and it's also on Instagram, created by Michelle Again. So I wasn't originally going to do this hashtag. Granted, I love the shirts that were created in the 70s. And so I was like, I don't know if I'm going to participate. But then I decided, you know what? I'm going to. So let me go ahead and show you the pattern that I have. So I have a McCall's. It is 6410. And I made view A, so that view. And I kind of collar blocked it because I didn't have enough fabric. And I didn't really use like the recommended fabrics, they might say. But it's okay. So I had some beautiful fabric that I decided I wanted to use. So this is what I have left of that fabric, and this is a piece that was cut off the hem because it was just a little bit long. So this is what I have left. Not very much, right? Not really much to do anything with, really. Like, I have this piece. Maybe I can make a mask out of this piece. Maybe there'll be enough, but there wasn't enough to do anything else with it. Okay. Yep, I still wear a mask. So I decided that I was going to do the hashtag, and I decided to use this fabric, but I did not have enough to cut out the sleeves of the other side of the yoke. So for view A, for the size that I made, it takes 2.5 yards. Well, actually, yeah, or 2 1/8 yard. Well, I think I only had like maybe 1.5 yards. I didn't fully look at it, and so some of this, I had turned the pattern piece a different way to make it fit. Yeah, so I didn't follow like all the grain lines. And then I ended up, like, I cut two fronts, but I couldn't cut them like at the same time because there wasn't enough fabric in that certain section to cut it at the same time. So there wasn't enough to cut out the whole thing, you know, with the fabric folded over. So I kind of had to piece it. And then while I was cutting, I was working on cutting the second piece, and I ended up cutting it like for the same side as the last piece. I'm like, that's not going to work. So I did make it work though. And I did do some collar blocking. I have some fabric here. And I went through it's like a cream colored fabric. And it's definitely not the same weight of fabric or any of that. But I looked at it and thought about it, and like, you know what? That actually goes really good together. I was surprised. I was like, you know, because that's more of a white, but it just kind of blends really good together. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to use that for the other pieces that I can't get out of the main piece. So I did a little collar blocking detail. I think it turned out quite nicely. So I did the sleeves, and then on the bottom it has that. And then I decided to just do some snap closures for the sleeves. Thought that just kind of added a nice little touch. which is probably good that I did the snap buttons just because. But then like back here you don't see like the little part of the snap button because I put the piece on before I finished sewing it together. So I put that piece on before I finished sewing it all the way around. So the instructions kind of say to like do like hand stitching around the edge, but I decided I was just going to try to like do a close stitching along the edges and catch that. And I did use some Easy Steam two-sided adhesive tape. So I did use that to hold the piece where it needed to be. Now with the snap wool, there, it went back in. So that also means that I had to use a contrast fabric for the collar. But it just happened to work out well that when it folds down like that. And then the back side, the back yoke, has that. Now I did have enough for the inside yoke piece. And also with the instructions, it says just to fold that down and then like hand stitch it. Well, I did the burrito method on the yoke because I really like the way that looks. And it does say that it should have a stitch going along this, but I don't think so. I don't think it needs it. I could do a top stitch along the edge just so that it looks neater, but I don't know. I don't think I will do that either. And then I found some perfect buttons. So I was going through my button stash because I have like a million buttons, and I found perfect buttons to go with this. So it only had 6 buttons, and I put it on me and measured and figured out where I wanted it buttoned up to, because I don't need a button clear up here if it's never going to be buttoned up there. So it just has the button there. And the buttons kind of match the snap. Won't that look cool? Alright. So I got that done. So this, oh, I forgot to tell you. It's a 1978 pattern. I guess you can kind of see right there. It actually had a 2 there, but I put it an 8 because it said 19, so it says 1978. So it's a 1978 pattern, and here's the back view, and it has the year right there. And so I got that done, and this pattern only cost me 25 cents. Now I did cut out the pattern piece. I don't usually do that, okay, but I didn't feel bad about doing it, because if I ever needed to make a size smaller, I still have these other measurements. So none of the like the little line measurements like overlap each other. So being that I didn't quite have enough fabric to cut out the whole thing fully, and I cut out a piece, you know, wrong, I improvise. And so I just kind of you know, cut on the short and lengthen line, and then added a combining stitch down the front. So yeah, let me go ahead and put it on and show it to you. Okay. So I am quite proud of this make. I really like it. And as I was making it, I was like, oh, that just looks beautiful. I love it. I was so excited by how well it turned out and how nice it looks. And the collar blocking is just right on point. I am not dissatisfied with this pattern at all. Now with the collar, it did say to also like hand stitch. Well, this side would be hand stitched. But I have a little trick to like kind of turn the collar and stitch it up so much, and then I only have like that much that I have to hand stitch, which really works out great. And even on the cuffs, it wants you to hand stitch. I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. I didn't follow all the directions, and I did do a collar blocking, but I did for the most part follow the pattern. And it does have the pocket on the chest, and yeah, I really like it. So it's a 1978 6410 McCalls. Now it does also have the vest options for this pattern. As you can see here, it has the vest, and then it has the short sleeve version. But I was going through my fabric cabinet and I looked at this fabric. I'm like, oh, I'll use that one. And then I get cutting it out and I'm like, oh, there's not enough fabric. So hence the collar blocking, and I think it turned out spectacular. Alright, so that was the hashtag Sew Your Birthday challenge. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye.